Hello and greetings from Amsterdam. My name is Melanie Kyrklund, and I'm currently working as Global Experimentation Lead at Specsavers, a large global optic retailer. And my talk today is going to be about leading global optimization programs. And in preparing the content, the key themes that emerged for me were really around problem solving at scale, being able to lead effectively, and managing complexity. And I think these types of challenges are relevant to many optimizers. So I hope you will enjoy the content of my talk and find it useful today. First off, a little bit more about me and why I feel qualified to talk about this subject today. Well, I've been in experimentation for 11 years in global roles. And with the exception of Booking.com, all the companies that I've worked at have been running decentralized operations to some degree. So every region is a unique entity operating through a separate e-com domain and responsible for trading within their market. And this brings differences in business models, product offering, customer behavior, and of course, different economies and market forces. And I've always been part of a global optimization function, tasked with interfacing with both regional teams and product development, and forming a coherent optimization strategy that everyone can benefit from. And a question I often get asked is whether I formulate the global strategy bottom up, so focused on the regional demand and perspectives, or top down with a focus on platform efficiency and scalability and best use of resources. And actually the answer is somewhere in between. So to me, global strategy is built upon an understanding of individual markets, but it's also focused on finding the common themes to go after to ensure resources can be used for maximum impact. And this understanding of global audiences really has two components. And the first is business partnering. So this is very important in large organizations, especially if you work in a central function, to understand your stakeholder needs, their commercial objectives, and how you can help them through experimentation. The second component, of course, is understanding your customer base in each region. And what I like to do before conducting research is to log all the questions I have related to customer behavior. I then pick the techniques I need to use in order to get insight into those questions. And typically, there are a few techniques I stack to build a solid customer view. And these are analysis of customer files, using descriptive analytics or clustering to create data-driven personas. I then follow that up with surveying and user research to really understand needs, motivations, behavior in more detail. And finally, web analytics and post-purchase polls are just used consistently across the regions for funnel analysis and quick feedback on pain points. And these three techniques combined will give a good picture of your user groups or segments and their needs. Now, once you have conducted your research, you do have a lot of data from different regions to have to organize in some way. And the way I handle this complexity is by using simple frameworks to organize the output. And this really helps to identify key themes to go after as well. And there are three methods I find useful. At the highest level, it can make sense to group businesses together that may share distinguishing features in terms of business model or trading strategies. And by clustering these businesses together, you may create distinct optimization streams already. The second is around user needs. So outline the segments of users you have been able to find through research, map out their needs and which product features align into servicing those needs. And I find this user needs feature structure helps outline the optimization themes that you need to delve into further and which product features will align to those needs as well. So to give you an example, when I was working on online prescription glasses, a recurring theme that came up in user research was around overcoming anxiety around size and fit when buying glasses online. So this is one of the themes we tackled and delved into in a bit more detail through experimentation. The third framework is a growth model, and this is really complementary to the other approaches, but you look at user segments and how their needs are being serviced through your marketing journeys. So you map out your main marketing journeys around acquisition, upsell, or retention, for example, and pull in the marketing vehicles and product features that fall into that journey. And this is useful because you end up looking at marketing and product cohesively and at how experimentation can improve the relevance of those user journeys and drive commercial objectives. These frameworks, I also find them useful for anchoring insight in product development and commercial objectives. And by doing this, experimentation is set up to have more of a strategic impact upfront. Another question I often get asked is whether I test in multiple markets, and the answer is yes, I do. As many as traffic permits me to. I test first in larger markets to come to a quicker result and then copy for further validation in the lower traffic markets. And this, of course, ties back to the strategy of focusing on common themes that all markets can benefit from and which can be developed globally. And testing in multiple markets ultimately helps to instill confidence in the way forward. Now, once you're running tests, you have results coming in, my next piece of advice would be don't get lost in the weeds. And what I mean by that is in communicating with leadership and stakeholders, don't focus on test results. The reason being, you should be evangelizing experimentation to be something beyond a tactical discipline that's focused on generating uplifts or results. So I think in light of that, it's important to communicate clearly your understanding of the problem space, what to go after and why, the data and research that has informed this view, and ultimately how you can help leaders innovate and improve. And I think that's really key in order to transform CRO from a siloed tactical function into a truly strategic one. Now, looking at the role of global CRO functions within organizations, it's hard to generalize because the context is always so specific to businesses. But in order to enable problem solving at scale, global functions should strive to build an experimentation culture, and that means focusing on enabling more teams to test. So this means, in practice, articulating the experiment process, looking at common tooling, and then enabling autonomy within teams when the time is right through training. You also continuously have to look at advancement of your capabilities, so be forward thinking, and find opportunities to collaborate with new business units and functions so that more can benefit from experimentation. Finally, I think this quote from Experimentation nicely sums up my own perspective on leading global optimization programs, where problem solving at scale can only be achieved through actively listening to different perspectives and understanding your global audiences. Thank you for listening. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. Thank you.